Chapter 2. Luck and Risk. In this chapter, the book unpacks how luck and risk are deeply intertwined forces shaping our financial outcomes, often invisibly. It begins by telling the story of Bill Gates, whose extraordinary success with Microsoft wasn't solely about brilliance or determination. A large part of his journey can be traced back to a rare opportunity: attending Lakeside School, one of the few high schools in the world, in 1968, with access to a computer. Out of hundreds of millions of high school students globally, only about 300 went to Lakeside. Gates himself acknowledged that without this access, there would have been no Microsoft. But luck's counterpart, risk, was equally present. Gates's close friend Kent Evans was just as talented and driven, sharing Gates's passion for computers and business. Tragically, Kent died in a mountaineering accident before graduating high school. His death was a 1 in a million risk, an example of how unpredictable life's outcomes can be, regardless of effort or potential. The author emphasizes, for every Bill Gates there's a Kent Evans, someone equally deserving but met with a different fate. The book challenges the way we attribute success or failure. We tend to simplify stories. Winners are smart and hard-working, losers made mistakes. But the reality is far more nuanced. Luck plays an unseen role in lifting some up. Risk plays a silent role in pulling others down. Yet we rarely give luck or risk their proper credit because they're harder to see and accept. Using examples from figures like Benjamin Graham, Mark Zuckerberg, Cornelius Vanderbilt, and John D. Rockefeller, the author shows how the line between boldness and recklessness, genius and criminality, is often razor thin and only visible with hindsight. Vanderbilt's success partly came from ignoring laws. Had he failed, history might have branded him a reckless outlaw rather than a visionary. The chapter warns us not to overlearn from extreme outcomes. Studying billionaires or catastrophic failures often leads to misleading conclusions because these examples sit at the extremes of luck and risk, making them poor models for general life lessons. Instead, we're encouraged to look for broad patterns across many cases rather than fixating on individual stories. Toward the end, the book echoes Bill Gates's own warning. Success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. Similarly, failure can be misleading, making us believe all poor outcomes result from poor decisions, when sometimes they simply reflect the realities of risk. The author urges arranging our financial lives in a way that leaves room for failure without devastation, because we'll inevitably encounter risk. Ultimately, we're reminded nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. Embracing this perspective helps us forgive ourselves, understand others, and approach both success and failure with humility. Key takeaways from Chapter 2. Luck and risk are inseparable forces. Both shape outcomes beyond effort or intelligence, and neither can be fully controlled. Every success story hides unseen factors. For every Bill Gates, there's a Kent Evans whose potential was cut short by risk. Be cautious in praise or blame. Don't assume success is purely skill or failure is purely mistakes. Luck and risk distort both. Don't overlearn from extreme cases. Focus on broad, repeated patterns rather than individual outlier stories. Success and failure are lousy teachers. Success makes us overconfident, while failure makes us self-critical, even when both may simply reflect luck or risk. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. Maintaining perspective helps us stay humble and resilient. Design your financial life to withstand bad luck, Structure it so that failure doesn't wipe you out, allowing you to keep playing until the odds favour you.